Absolutely. If I could invite everyone to take their seats so we can begin this final session, please, if you'd like to move back to your seats. Thank you very much. If you'd like to take your seats, we're going to be starting now. We're going to move into the final session of the day. Coming back to one of the important themes that's come up on a number of occasions during our discussions today, which is about assessing the benefits of open document standards for greater transparency. We have two speakers with us here, Jim Harper, Director of Information Policy Studies at the Cato Institute, and Bob Reeves from the House of Representatives. I think we're going to try and end just a little before 6 o'clock so that we can be at the reception on good time. So we're going to start straight away with Jim Harper. Jim, please.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I want to thank the organizers for having me come speak. I'll tell you a little bit about my organization myself first, and then get into this question of ideas for measuring transparency. My organization is called the Cato Institute. It's a think tank here in Washington, D.C., independent think tank. We don't accept any government funding. All our funding is private, most of it individual contributions. And we have a particular ideology. We call ourselves libertarian. In many parts of the world, that's actually liberal. But in the United States, the word liberal has different connotations, so we call ourselves libertarian. We seek out limited government, free markets, and peace. My role is as Director of Information Policy Studies, is really a lot of different issue areas. I spend a good deal of my time on privacy. I work on telecommunications and intellectual property. But in the last year especially, I've dedicated a lot of work to transparency, because there really is a great deal of opportunity to advance transparency here in the United States and obviously internationally as well. My interest in transparency is long-lasting, actually, because more than 10 years ago, I started a website called WashingtonWatch.com. All the best websites have watch in the name, so look for those. WashingtonWatch.com is an idea I had having grown up in California and seeing friends of mine from high school, college, and law school go into .com companies and do exciting things with them. I thought that the Internet should probably affect government the way it has affected lots of other areas of life in the United States. So I started Washington Watch with the idea that at some point I might make it into something that affects government as significantly as Amazon.com affected retail sales, and the Internet affected the news gathering and news dissemination businesses and all kinds of other things. Washington Watch has about 1 million visitors per year right now, and I'm fairly confident that, say, 990,000 of them are disappointed when they finish looking at the site. But that really just highlights the problem that we collectively have to solve, which is to get better information available to the public here in the U.S. and obviously in all the countries that you represent. Let me talk a little bit about the recent history of the transparency issue here in the United States, which will bring me to the question of measurability that we're going to focus on in this panel. When President Obama was campaigning for the presidency in 2008, he talked a lot about transparency and good government generally. And he got a lot of credit on the campaign trail for talking about transparency. And I thought when he was elected that it was important to communicate to my constituency, which isn't necessarily a constituency that prefers President Obama. I wanted to communicate to them that we should all prefer transparency. That is, we won't treat this as a partisan issue where we might treat others as partisan. Cato, by the way, is nonpartisan. We like to offend both of the major parties in the United States as much as we possibly can. And I think we're pretty successful at that. But we put on a conference in December of 2008 called Just Give Us the Data, which was to support President Obama's transparency initiatives, his plans for transparency, and again, to signal to across ideology and across politics in the United States that we're all going to be in favor of transparency. And basically agreement on that has held. All the groups that work on transparency, no matter what ideological perspective they have, no matter what affinity they have for what political party, we're all working on transparency together. And so it's a pleasure to work on an issue that doesn't have heavy